Welcome back, everyone, to Vail, Colorado. It is the session and the Bud Light Super Slope Style. Right now, jumping into the women's side of the competition. And important note, the women dropping in on the same course as the men. And all of snowboarding's elite were out, including a veteran, Barrett Christie. We caught up with Barrett Christie a little bit earlier to talk about the difference between the men and the women's field.
Even though the gap is closing year after year between the girls and the guys, it's still a little gap there. So it's kind of nice to ride with them because they push us to the next level too.
And Barrett Christie taking the drop on the Bud Light Super Slope Style. Just one of the nicest people you'll ever find in snowboarding.
Well, I have to make note right there that she dropped into that jump switch trying the cab 540. Definitely pushing the level of women's snowboarding up. Barrett also is one of the most winning snowboarders I've ever met.
Whether it be on slope style or half pipe.
Big air, you name it, she does it. Very good all-around rider. Has taken first place at the Banker Bank Slalom. There's a great backside grab there for Barrett Christie. And she's dropping into this bottom jump with a ton of speed. Going for the signature backside 360 that Barrett does so well.
Earned her a lot of respect in the earlier years. Barrett Christie, 64.30. And a rider you're not used to seeing on slopestyle, Kelly Clark. She's been broadening her range as of late.
Well, this season I've been looking forward and trying to do other stuff than just pipe, trying to broaden my snowboarding in every way, for those free riding or park riding or rails. And I'm just out here having fun trying to do other stuff than just pipe.
So the Olympic gold medalist from this year's Olympics, Kelly Clark, drops in.
Well, I want to also make note that she is dropping into that switch, going for a switch frontside 3, almost looking like she's going for the cab 5.
And it's interesting talking to Kelly during the Grand Prix event, at the first stop of the Grand Prix this year in Park City. She's like, I am so tired, all this pressure about competition. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more of her at the more kind of individualized aspects of snowboarding, a lot of the slope style and rail events.
Well, as you can see, she's not lacking in slope style ability. There she is, board sliding that 15-foot rail. And here she's doing a front side 180, and she's landing switch on that. And that's a steep landing, and you're coming off of that with a ton of speed, and then she's going into this 50-foot table.
A little problem there, though. You saw the rolling up the windows from Kelly Clark, but great run on the top section, 61.70.
But the fact that she is doing those bigger jumps, hitting it switch.
Dropping in Jana Mayen, undoubtedly one of the quietest, smoothest styles in women's snowboarding.
Well, hands down, one of the most stylish snowboarders there is, period.
And just watch in between jumps how quiet she is when we talk about that smooth style. Just looks so relaxed. Little bobble there, though.
Well, she makes everything look easy. She does it flawlessly and effortlessly. And she's hitting this rail switch, doing a 50-50 switch, 50-50, 180 off. And she's the only girl I've seen do that trick so far.
Not getting the grab on that, but clearing it cleanly over the knuckle.
And notice the speed she has off of all these jumps. Speed checking just a little bit to slow her down, and then a backside 360, easily putting that down. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to be a winning run. The only thing I see is that fall up top.
So 66.70 for Jana Mayen. And up to the top, one of the many amazing riders hailing from the Great White North, Canadian Priscilla Levac.
Well, expect to see good things from Priscilla Levac, just like that frontside 360. She's starting it off big on that 30-foot tabletop. That's the first jump, and that kind of sets the pace for the rest of the course. And that also followed over into that gap to board slide to 180 out. She's the first girl I've seen do that here.
She definitely turned a lot of heads at the last stop of last year's Triple Crown at Snow Summit.
That's the first time I saw her, and I was impressed. I was blown away by how good she was, and still is.
Well, we're definitely seeing a lot of ladies step up and come close to the men's level in a half pipe, but slopestyle is a little bit slower catching on to that level.
But with moves like, the backside 360s over that 50-foot gap and the cab 540s, she kind of seems a little disappointed. She missed her grab on that, but I think the top of the course was so strong.
And 68.50 for Priscilla Levac. To the top for a rider who came all the way across the pond to snowboard here in America, Jenny Jones from the UK.
Well, Jenny Jones actually lives in Vail, Colorado during the winter season, starting things off with a backside 360.
Oh, yeah, just,
Nice, clean, and fluid. There again, another backside 360, not quite getting the grab in on that, and you definitely want to grab all your jumps in a slopestyle course. But there she is showing her variety, grabbing off the end of that with the 50-50.
She's been having a good year, got a first at the Vans Triple Crown this year in Breck, and there's that smooth style, consistency, and it's that fluidity that grabbed her the win in the rail session.
Now going back to Breckenridge, a lot of people at that contest were asking, who is Jennifer Jones? Well, people now know who she is.
Look at that, Jenny Jones, 69.7, one of the highest we've seen so far.
I was nervous at the beginning, and I always am. Like first round, I always wind the windows down and I overshoot everything. And everyone looks at me like, oh my god, she's a punter, what's she doing? Get off. And I'm like, okay, pull it together. And once the adrenaline's out, my legs a bit, then I'm happy. So the more runs I do, the better I get, I feel.
A justifiable, elated Jenny Jones, originally from the UK, now spending her winter months here in Vail. We'll be back with the women's results in a bit. Right now, the top of our super slopestyle course is at the bottom of Vail's terrain park. Let's take a closer look.
The terrain park is kind of an extension of the person who designs it. I've been snowboarding for 11 years. I've been building jumps and working on terrain parks for about 7. And Vail came to me 4 years ago and asked me if I'd like to take up designing this whole area on Golden Peak. We were ranked 5th last year in transworld snowboarding, and I think this year that we have a good chance, a very good chance of bumping our rating up. We have our 400-foot plus super pipe, which is 15-foot tall, 17-foot transition. We have different sizes and variations of jumps. We have tabletop jumps, hip jumps, spines, transfer jumps. We have 35 different rails right now. We have rails for every ability, from someone who's just starting out, wanting to learn and get in, and we have stuff for when the pros come in and all the advanced level riders. Vail's committed 100% to our terrain park. It's a night and day operation, 7 days a week grooming. Our half pipe is groomed every single night. Every feature in the park is taken care of either by a grooming machine or by handwork daily. We have a crew of 10 people that help rake and shovel rails, jumps, whatever needs it. We try to make everything as safe and friendly as we possibly can. This year we built 12 new rails and boxes so far. I always have new ideas popping into my head about things that we want to do, and we always talk about them and have them on paper. So the next chance we get to make something new, that'll be in the works. The future of this park is just to keep expanding as much as we can. Just adding more and more features for every ability level, and just keeping it fun and it's safe.
Coming up, we'll see how the Olympic bronze medalist J.J. Thomas and the others fare as the men's Bud Light Super Slopestyle and the session continues here on Fox Sports Net.
Well, we had an amazing road trip. It was incredible. There's nothing better than getting the guys together and hanging out for the weekend. We got a little lost on the way. Eric had the map.
Once again, you're pointing here, he's pointing over there.
247?
247, thank you!
Yeah, we mountain biked, I did a little rock climbing. We met some friends out there, some girls. Somebody came in acting like an idiot. It could have been done at a different time, but I got back at him. You can't beat a road trip like that, and I'd go again, any day.
The new Honda Element. Go with it.
We live in a world of illusions. You see something, you think it's real. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it's not. Like counterfeit hair care products that look like Paul Mitchell or say they have the same formula, like the ones you might find in drugstores or supermarkets. Don't be fooled by their looks, because we can only guarantee they're Paul Mitchell if you get them in a salon.
Remember, what you see
isn't always what you get.
For a Paul Mitchell signature salon, call this number.